Hey guys, Patriot coming to you from the desktop here for a moment. I'm going to kind of do this in reverse order. I'm going to give you the summary of some of the testing and my experience with these, and then you guys can go on and see some of the field testing from there. But the Gerber is the one that I've had the longest, the Baco second, and then the SOG here is one that I've had most recently. This Gerber I've had for a long time. It actually comes with a second blade here, which is a bone saw. It's not built nearly as sturdy as the other two. I'll tell you that right off the bat. The blade is very thin. It's a little bit more sturdy than what I've seen in the Coglins or Stan Sport style blades. But I noticed that on the push stroke, if you're not real careful, it's real easy to kink or snap this style of blade. So you have to put a lot of pressure on the rearward stroke and just concentrate on that for cutting. It does have this little plastic knob over here. This unscrews and then the bone saw goes on there. This thing's super light. It's only about 4.5 ounces. It's got a decent handle, and it terminates here in this little sweep that actually lets you get a pretty good pull stroke on the handle. These others don't have that, but handy little blade. It just doesn't live up to any of the heavier duty tasks. I would say that this is a great blade for hunters, someone who's expecting to use a bone saw and might need to change out really quick. He might need to build blinds out of saplings, maybe 1 inch up to maybe 2 inches, but beyond that, especially if it's pine, there's just too much resin in the wood. It gets real sticky and this starts to bind. Now they all start to bind. The difference is that the others have enough structure, enough rigidity to the blade where they don't tend to bind on that push stroke. And sometimes you don't have any choice but to force or push that back through the wood. I mean, you're 2/3 of the way through the wood, and to get to another pull stroke you have to push it through. Sometimes if you're rushing yourself, this kind of a blade can kink. Now this does have the most aggressive teeth. These tend to work best on softer woods. Along with the SOG, that also seems to work best on soft woods. The Baco shined when I cut real dead stuff. I just see this one as a limited use, or someone who's really trying to keep the weight in their pack down, since this one comes in at about 4.5 ounces. This is about 6.3 ounces, or 6.4, and this one comes in at just under 9 ounces. The SOG also comes with a inexpensive sheath. I do kind of like the sheath, especially if you get a lot of pitch all over this thing, a lot of gumminess, and it's nice to be able to close this up and put it inside of this and keep all that sap and everything off your other gear. The Baco doesn't come with a sheath. No big deal. It'll fit this one if I wanted to. As I can show you, these are all pretty stiff. So it just goes in there and it'll use that sheath just fine. The Baco and the SOG have very similar length handle. You can see the width there. The SOG is actually a little bit thinner, but it is heavier. This one at first glance or first pickup, it does tend to feel a little bit more substantial. There's more metal components on it. This one has a lockback style release on it here to close the pivot. Now if you hit this pivot and push the blade this way, it'll go into like an over travel. One blogger who I respect said something about it might be handy to get into some tight places, but having tried this way a little bit, like maybe I was reaching up through a limb or something trying to make this work, sounds better in theory than it actually works in practice. In order to use this, you would have to kind of come up on the saw like this and saw this way, so it's a little bit weird. I haven't found a use for that over travel. The Baco butts right up against the stop. It can't go any further once it has reached that point. Now that same blogger, again, who I also respect, had mentioned that he's not partial to the placement of the switch here on the Baco, because as you go up you can accidentally hit this. Well, let's suppose that we accidentally did hit this, or we were squeezing this as we were cutting or putting a load on this. I'm squeezing it in right now. The blade still can't go anywhere. So you're not in danger of this thing opening further if you hit this. That's not a problem in real life. Now, in general use, it really doesn't matter if one saw is 5 or 10% faster than another. I was just pushing the saws to the limits to kind of see what I could get out of them. And in doing so, I discovered a few things that I had never experienced before. Like I was going so fast that I would come up and hit this pivot point, or this lock release, and the blade would go up like this. You'll see that a couple times. But I had never done that before when I was just cutting leisurely. And you know, for the most part, the slower and more deliberate you are, the less prone that you're going to be to having an accident or something, you know, causing yourself an issue out there or breaking a tool. You know, hey, this is testing, and we're trying to see what will fail, what will happen if we push it to at least my limits, and I think that you guys will see that. So. In summary, I think my favorite all around is still going to be the Baco, although the SOG is a heck of a nice tool. A blogger also mentioned that he felt that this was maybe a little bit more flimsy. I didn't note that. To me, it feels equally as rigid and as stiff as the Baco. I felt like when I dragged this across some of the wood today, I mean, the thing just really bites in. You'll notice that when I was doing some of my timed cuts, that I would actually put this in the wood right here, do one drag across it just to set my cut line, and then I would start the timer. When I would do that drag cut with this, it was a noticeable difference as far as how much bite into the wood there was, at least on the wood that we were working with today. So all of these are great. I think I'm going to replace, I think I'll put this one in my EDC bag. By the way, that EDC bag I'm not typically using anymore, the one that I've did about a year and a half ago, so I'm going to get that updated for you. But I'm going to put this in either my desert kit or another bag. I think I'll put this one in my 7-day wilderness pack, since that's kind of my most serious or most important pack configuration that I currently have. And this would be fine in my little desert or day pack, and it's super light too. But this is a good compromise between weight and performance, I think. And it has established itself as a favorite among outdoorsmen, hunters, bushcrafters. And so, and I can see why. It really does a good job. All right, I hope this little desktop portion was helpful for you, and we'll get on to the field testing right now. Thanks for watching, guys. This one's the SOG. I've been carrying that in my 7-day wilderness pack, or my extended stay backpack. Historically, this one does pretty good in softer wood. Harder wood, the teeth are a little bit big. This is pretty hard. Baco, of course. The biggest thing I noticed about these two is that they're just a lot more sturdy. They don't have a lot of flex in them. This little inexpensive Gerber here, the blade is thinner and it's just got a lot more wobble. It's the lightest of the three and has the smallest blade, but a very aggressive tooth pattern. Sticky. Need more oxygen. Okay, that was way better. So the biggest thing I noticed there, guys, is we'll call that one 17.6. This one doesn't have any flex, so on that push stroke, it's not trying to kind of wobble around on you. Also, this has got more play here at the pivot point, the Gerber does, than the Baco. The Baco is just super rigid. Got a nice long stroke on this one. Not getting as good of a grip on the handle on this one. Okay. About 21 seconds, guys. I'm taking a second off for the stop, second off for the start. As the wood gets thicker, the heavier blades definitely do better. So for quick little saplings and stuff up to about an inch, inch and a half, this thing does fine. But when you start getting bigger than that and the wood gets real sappy, I notice that's when these more rigid blades come in. Whoop. Alright, you saw we had one little hiccup in there. Take off 2 seconds. Alright guys, now the Baco. Handle's way more comfortable. off a couple seconds. That was a pretty quick cut. Let's try the SOG here again. Catch my breath just a second. Feeling the altitude a little bit up here. Did it again. All right. About the same time, but I lost a couple seconds there with that fold. You know, it's funny. I've used the saw in the past, but I've never timed my cuts or tried to beat another saw with it. And in doing that, I noticed that's where the little things happen. So my hand is sliding forward. This is not all that tacky. It's when it's colder. In the summertime I never noticed it, but when it's cold it seems like it's real hard. It's slippery. And I keep bumping that. Okay, took a quick break. I'm going to cut with the SOG first this time, just in case my grip's getting a little bit tired. And maybe that's what's causing me to slip up there, but I think I started with this one first, somewhere over there, and I had the same problem, so here we go. I'm going to try to get 90 degrees through this thing. You can see I've been going at a little angle here, just to make the cut a little easier for me. So we'll cut right there. Reset. And here we go. Pretty quick. Call it about 12 seconds or so. Alright, this wood is a little bit softer than what we cut earlier, and the SOG might be doing pretty good in this stuff. Alright. Reset. And here we go. The SOG's going a little faster, guys. Oh, I couldn't stop the clock. I'd let another 2 seconds lapse. My gloves. Darn touch screens. That's why I don't use touch screen GPSs. Alright, well, we got through it in about 15 seconds, 14, 15 seconds, and then I couldn't stop the clock. The SOG was the fastest on that by a couple seconds. Alright, so is speed really all that important when you're out here cutting this kind of stuff? It really isn't. In fact, the faster you go, the higher the chances are that you're going to have an accident or you make a mistake or something. My lips are still cold. I'm just pushing the saws to their limits and just seeing what they'll do. Obviously this isn't any kind of a survival situation or anything like that. Slow, steady, efficient is the way that you would behave out here if you were cutting this because you had to make a shelter or something. So we're just pushing the saws to see what they'll do, which ones cut faster, which ones cut easier. I notice on the soft wood this big SOG does pretty good. So let's go ahead and try something a little different this time. We'll do it two-handed. start right there. Okay, here we go. 0, start. Oh, there I go again. Okay, we still did that in 17 seconds, even with the slip up. So these teeth here are aggressive enough in the soft wood that I can put more downward pressure or more push against the wood. With one hand, I can't do that. The further I choke back on a knife, the less downward pressure I can put this way, like this. So in order to get more pressure, I creep up here, and that puts me at risk of activating a lever here and doing this bit. So by having the other hand on here, I can combine the force of two hands and put more downward pressure as I'm cutting. The thing is, I just got a little too close and hit the switch there. So let's try the same thing on the Baco. But by the way, that was going about 2 seconds faster through the wood than with one hand, maybe 3. I guess I could just do it again. Let's do that. We'll reset here. Let me start my cut. This time I'll try not to activate the lock. Okay, here we go. Take a breath here. I'm all bent over, putting pressure on my diaphragm here. It's harder to breathe. All right, here we go. Gosh, start over. Go. Oh, I couldn't stop it. 12 seconds. Stop. Alright. I had a low battery message or something come up. So when I hit stop, it wouldn't let me stop. I hate that. Reset. Look, I still can't do it with the glove. Touch screens. Ugh. Okay. Let's try the Baco two-handed. Anyhow, we were right at about 13 seconds, guys. Okay. About 13 seconds minus a couple. So both of these saws, guys, are really capable. They're both doing good. Well, a little bit of saw testing there for you guys. We'll cover the rest back at the desktop, and I'll do a little follow-up on this, but as you can see, we cut a fair amount of wood. Not all of it's here, but the ones from over on this side are. And yeah, these things do real good. That SOG is still formidable in soft wood. Those big teeth definitely clear the wood out. And if it gets sticky and sappy, same thing there, that they work pretty good. For an average of all the different, this one works the best on softwood. Those super aggressive teeth are like little needles. You can see that they're a lot deeper and more aggressive than the Baco. But on hardwoods, the Baco just does great. The deader the wood, the better that Baco does. Wait guys, I haven't forgot about the large survival knife series that I'm doing, or the baton testing that's coming next. I went out a couple times and just wasn't happy with the footage. The lighting was goofy, I wasn't on my game, the location was weird. So I'm still working on that for you. Sorry about the wait, but it'll be up pretty soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Patriot out.